Close your eyes for a moment and imagine that your soul is standing at the edge of a quiet lake just before dawn. The air is still. The world hasn't woken up yet. But inside you, something stirs, a question that refuses to go silent. What if the life you've been waiting for is actually waiting for you, not out there in some distant event or in someone else's approval, but here, inside, in the quiet decision to no longer postpone your power? There's a reason you're listening right now. It's not by accident. Something deep within you is rising, maybe slowly, maybe trembling, but rising, because it remembers what you've forgotten. You were never meant to live a life of silent suffering, numb routines, or invisible resignation. You were born to create, to walk this world like someone who remembers their soul is not on lease, to wake up each morning with the sacred fire, not just to survive the day, but to shape it, mold it, bless it into something meaningful. But let's tell the truth. Maybe you've been tired. Not the kind of tired sleep fixes, but the kind that settles in your bones after years of carrying what you never asked for. The kind of tired that comes from chasing security when what you really wanted was freedom. You've felt it, haven't you? That ache, that quiet suspicion that life was supposed to be more than this, more than bills and deadlines, more than the replay of old wounds dressed as new faces, more than a mind filled with noise, but a heart echoing with silence. Here's the truth you've been searching for and maybe feared to believe. You don't need to wait any longer, not for permission, not for proof, not for the stars to align, because the moment you decide to awaken, life begins to rearrange itself around your inner certainty. This is the great secret that the mystics whispered, that Napoleon Hill wrote between the lines, that Neville Goddard insisted with every breath. Reality bends to belief, but not the belief you repeat once a week or scribble on a vision board and forget. No, the belief that lives in your actions, in your posture, in your refusal to betray your soul another day longer. The belief that says, I was not made for smallness. I will not trade my peace for approval. I came here to rise, and that rise begins where no one sees, in the thoughts you feed, the words you speak in silence, and the images you allow to replay when the world goes quiet. This is not about pretending. It's not about bypassing pain or sugarcoating struggle. It's about seeing that your thoughts are electric, that your emotions are magnetic, and every time you align them, you shift timelines. You see, there's a version of you that already lives the life you long for, not someday, not maybe, already. A version of you who walks through life with grace, not guilt, who creates from joy, not survival, who no longer begs the world to love them because they finally remembered how to love themselves. And your only task is to tune into that version of you until the signal is so clear that the old life can't hold you anymore. Yes, this requires discipline, but not the harsh kind, not punishment, sacred discipline, the kind that comes from love, from the decision to guard your mind. Like a garden worth protecting, to tend to your thoughts as you would sacred soil, because every seed planted in consciousness will one day bloom in form. So if your life feels barren, if it seems nothing new will grow, ask yourself gently, what thoughts have I been planting without knowing? This is where you begin, not by fixing the outer world, but by becoming intimate with your inner one. Because, as Greg Braden teaches, coherence between heart and brain isn't a theory. It's a doorway, a gateway through which reality rushes in to meet the vibration you emit. Are you still carrying the frequency of fear, of not enough, of waiting for the outside to validate your worth? Then breathe, come back to the now, to the sacred breath that reminds you, you are not broken, you are becoming. What hurts now isn't proof of failure, it's the friction of transformation. You are outgrowing the old shell, the one that played small to stay safe, the one that said, maybe next time, every time your heart whispered, now. So let today be different. Let this moment mark the line, the invisible boundary where you stop betraying your soul and start walking as if your dreams are not distant, but already calling your name. You don't need to know how it will all unfold. The universe responds to energy, not effort alone. What matters is that you feel the future you desire, that you dare to taste its peace and breathe in its beauty before it arrives. Because the subconscious mind, as Dr. Joe Dispenza reveals, does not know the difference between what is imagined vividly and what is experienced externally. So imagine with reverence, not fantasy, but sacred foresight. See yourself already living it. Feel the morning light on your face in a home filled with peace. Feel the bank account reflect your impact, not your anxiety. Feel your body light, healthy, alive. Feel the joy of contributing, of being seen, of standing in your truth without apology. Let your emotions become the rehearsal. Let your vision become your vibration, because the quantum field of this infinite realm of possibility does not respond to need. It responds to signal. And every time you embody the frequency of already having, you collapse the distance between desire and manifestation. But don't rush it. This is not a sprint. This is the sacred art of becoming, and becoming takes presence, stillness, daily communion with your own soul. There will be moments you forget, moments when old patterns knock loudly, when fear dresses up as logic, and shame whispers you're still not enough. But even then, especially then, remember, you are not the thought. You are the awareness behind it. You are not the wound. You are the healer rising from within it. So speak kindly to yourself, not just on good days, on hard ones. When you fall back into fear, tell yourself, this too is part of the journey. I do not have to be perfect to be powerful. And as you walk this path, not perfectly, but faithfully, life begins to shift, not in loud explosions, but in subtle miracles, in the synchronicity that arrives when you least expect it, in the person who calls just when you were about to give up, in the door that opens because you finally stopped knocking where you were never meant to enter. This is how it happens, not with fanfare, but with quiet revolutions, one thought at a time, one breath at a time, one brave decision to believe again when it would be easier to stay asleep. And isn't that the real turning point? When you realize awakening is not a one-time moment of revelation, but a daily decision to return. To return to the truth you keep forgetting, but that never forgets you. You were never ordinary. You were never meant to live a life made only of repetition and survival. There's a sacred imprint in your spirit, a pattern of potential etched by the divine. And every moment you choose to align with that truth, your life begins to echo that alignment. Not always instantly, not always in the ways you imagined, but always faithfully. Because the universe, it doesn't forget a single vibration you send. It collects each one like a prayer. And when the frequency is clear, when you stop asking and start becoming, it answers. But here's what no one tells you. It doesn't always come with fireworks. Sometimes it comes in silence, in stillness, in the space where you finally stop fighting yourself long enough to hear the next step. And what if that silence isn't emptiness? What if it's presence? What if that quiet moment after the tears is actually the opening where your soul speaks? Because your body listens to everything your soul whispers, and your biology responds not just to what you do, but to what you believe while you're doing it. Science now confirms what the mystics have always known. Your thoughts create chemical messengers. Your emotions shape your immune system, your hormones, your very DNA. This is not metaphor, it's spiritual neuroscience, epigenetics. Your beliefs write your biology. So what if, instead of rehearsing past wounds, you began to rehearse peace? What if your morning coffee became a ritual of receiving? What if your breath became a sacred bridge to now? What if every step became a prayer, not for something to change, but for you to remember who you truly are? And the truth is, healing doesn't always look like light. Sometimes it looks like grief, like fatigue, like surrendering the masks that once kept you safe. Sometimes healing looks like losing your way, just to realize you were never lost, just called deeper. And in that depth, you don't find something new. Yeah, you recover something ancient, a wisdom already living in your bones, a knowing that cannot be taught, only remembered, that you are more than enough, that your sensitivity is not weakness, but your antenna to the sacred, that your pain is not punishment, it's a portal. And when you enter that portal, when you stop trying to escape what hurts and instead ask it, what are you here to teach me? You discover something extraordinary. Your pain becomes your path. Not because you needed to suffer, but because through it you found the courage to meet yourself. The parts you buried, the truth you avoided, the inner child still waiting for someone to say, you're safe now, you can come home. And that home is not somewhere out there. It's in your breath, it's in your stillness. It's in the moment you stop running and simply allow yourself to be, right here, right now. Maybe for the first time in a long time. Can you feel that? That pause where something inside you says, I remember this. That's your soul nodding. That's your nervous system softening. That's life responding to your yes, because you didn't come here to just make it through. You came to live, to love with depth, to create with devotion, to walk through life like someone who knows They are already held by something far greater than circumstance. So let this be the day you stop outsourcing your worth. Let this be the breath where you release the old script. You are not too late. You have not missed it. You are right on time for a life that fits your soul. But you must choose it, even when it's uncomfortable, even when the old voice says, "Who are you to change now?" You are you. That's who. The one who was born for this awakening. The one who carries generations of untold wisdom in their cells. The one who hears the call not with the ears, but with the soul. And if you hear it, you're ready. Ready to stop living from memory and start living from vision. Ready to stop measuring your value by productivity and start remembering that your very presence is already worthy. Ready to walk with the certainty that you are not alone and never were, because the universe hears you, even when you don't speak, even when all you can do is weep, even when you forget how to ask. It still responds to your vibration. So raise it gently, not with force, but with reverence. Start with gratitude, not the performative kind, but the sacred noticing of what already is. The warm water in your shower, the way the light hits your window, the moment your body exhaled and didn't break. These are not small things. They are the threads of a life becoming holy. And when you begin to notice the sacred in the mundane, your frequency rises. Not because you tried to fake joy, but because you started telling the truth that you are here, still open, still listening. And that is more than enough. From this place, miracles unfold quietly, not as rewards, but as reflections, because you didn't need to prove yourself. You only needed to be yourself, fully, fiercely, faithfully. So stand up now, even if only inside. Stand in the quiet power of your being, and let the world adjust to the frequency of someone who finally remembered they are not here to chase life. They are here to create it. There is a soft revolution happening inside you, not the loud kind that demands attention, but the quiet kind, the kind that changes everything without making a sound. It happens when you choose presence over panic, when you choose truth over noise, when you wake up one morning and realize you don't need to become someone else to be worthy of the life you desire, that you only need to return to what's real, to what's already alive within you, beneath the layers of proving, pleasing, and performing, because somewhere along the way you were taught to abandon your own knowing, to trust the external more than the internal, to believe that safety comes from control, and that love must be earned. But that was never your original truth. That was a survival script, a story passed down not because it was sacred, but because someone else was afraid. And now you're being asked to write a new one, a story where your worth is not up for debate, where your voice is not an afterthought, where your boundaries are not betrayal, but devotion to your peace. Because peace is not passive, it is powerful. It is a frequency of alignment, a decision to no longer participate in what drains you, dims you, or distorts the light you were meant to shine. And that decision, though quiet, reverberates across your timeline. You begin to notice how the outer world rearranges when the inner world stabilizes, not because everything becomes perfect, but because you do. You become anchored, rooted, still even in the storm, and from that stillness new desires arise, not from lack, but from overflow, not from fear, but from expansion. You begin to see that wealth is not just currency, it's clarity, it's energy, it's the frequency of being fully aligned with who you are and allowing the world to compensate that alignment. Napoleon Hill said it best: whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. But few remember the depth of that, because to truly conceive, you must feel it. You must breathe life into your desires until they stop feeling like dreams and start feeling like inevitabilities. This is the sacred power of assumption. Neville Goddard called it the law of the mind, to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, not someday, now to walk as if, to live as if, to speak as if your vision is already your reality, because the subconscious listens. It doesn't need evidence. It responds to repetition, to emotion, to imagination. So train it. Train your mind not to resist reality, but to design it. Each thought a blueprint, each belief a beam, each feeling the mortar that holds it all together, and what you build inside will always manifest outside. Yes, it takes time. Yes, it will be tested, but don't let the test make you forget the truth. You are the architect. You are the builder. You are the temple. So bless the process, even the slow days, even the ones where doubt visits again. Bless them, because they are proof that something is healing. Because before new life can emerge, the old must fall away. And that falling can feel like failure, but it's not. It's shedding, it's release, it's the sacred undoing that must happen before your becoming. So if you feel empty, good. It means you're no longer filled with what was never yours. If you feel uncertain, good. It means your soul is questioning the script you were given. If you feel alone, you're not. You're just in the sacred in-between, where all great transformations occur, and don't rush through it. Let it alchemize you. Let the loneliness show you what connection really means. Let the silence teach you what your soul has tried to say for years. Let the pause prepare you for the life you are finally ready to receive, because you will receive, not because you begged, but because you became. You became someone who no longer asks, is it possible? But instead affirms, it's already happening. You became someone who walks in faith, not blind belief, but embodied knowing. The kind of knowing that speaks even when the bank account is low, even when the relationship ends, even when the path is unclear. Because true faith is not about avoiding darkness, it's about becoming the light that leads yourself through it. And in that light, you no longer chase success, you attract it. Because it's not about effort anymore, it's about alignment. When you are aligned, when your thoughts, emotions, and actions dance in harmony, life stops resisting you. The right people appear, the right ideas flow, the right opportunities arrive. And you don't need to force it, you don't need to compete. You don't need to hustle your soul into exhaustion. You only need to be true to yourself, to your purpose, to the frequency you were born to emit. And from that place, you remember what abundance really is, not stuff, not status, not validation. Abundance is the breath that fills your lungs each morning. It's the love you give without fear. It's the peace you feel after letting go. It's the knowing that you are already enough, not because of what you do, but because of who you are. This is wealth. This is freedom. And this is the life waiting for you the moment you stop waiting to be chosen and choose yourself. So now, here you stand at the edge of a new life, not because the world outside has changed, but because you have. You've remembered that you are not the echoes of your past, not the opinions of those who didn't understand your soul, not the outcomes of things that didn't work out. You are the creator, the observer, the frequency holder. And as you hold a new vibration, life mirrors it back to you in ways you never could have planned. Because alignment doesn't rely on control. It relies on coherence. When your thoughts speak the same language as your heart, when your choices echo your inner truth, when your energy reflects your intention, you become magnetic, not to just things, but to meaning, to peace, to resonance. And that's what you came for, isn't it? Not just a life that looks good from the outside, but one that feels like home on the inside. A life where you don't betray yourself to fit in, where you no longer shrink to be acceptable, where every breath affirms, I am free to be me. And in that freedom, abundance becomes natural. Because when you stop blocking your truth, you stop blocking your flow. And when you stop blocking your flow, you start receiving without guilt, without proving, without asking for permission. You start walking as someone who knows, I don't chase wealth. I radiate it, not just in money, but in spirit, in the way you speak to strangers, in the way you enter a room, in the way your presence calms, heals, ignites, because presence is your greatest power. Not perfection, not performance. Presence. And when you show up fully, when you stop editing your truth for comfort, you activate something divine. You give the world permission to rise to meet you. That's what real leadership is. That's what real manifestation is. Not manipulation, but magnetism. A soft power. The kind that doesn't force its way, but makes its way inevitable. This is the quantum shift, where cause is no longer just action, but frequency, where faith is no longer a wish, but a signal, where results are no longer pursued, but received through alignment. So what does that mean practically? It means you begin to live differently. You wake with intention. You speak with consciousness. You rest when needed without shame. You move because you're guided, not because you're panicked. You no longer outsource your power to people, to systems, to circumstances. You reclaim it gently, fully, faithfully. And when doubt returns, because it will, you don't collapse. You breathe, you pause, you remember. This thought is not who I am. This feeling is not forever. And this moment is not the end, it is the threshold. Because every doubt is a test of embodiment. Will you shrink back into the old identity? Or will you stand vibrating with the truth you've claimed until reality has no choice but to catch up. You're not faking it. You're becoming it step by step, breath by breath. And in that becoming, you heal. You heal not by erasing pain, but by rewriting your relationship to it. You begin to see that your wounds were never punishments. They were invitations to deepen, to soften, to awaken. You begin to thank the fire not for burning you, but for revealing the gold that could only be found within it. This is not romanticizing suffering. It's redeeming it. It's looking at every scar and saying, you tried to break me, but you made me sovereign. And that sovereignty, that sacred ownership of your energy, your voice, your vision, that is your wealth. That is your legacy. Because in the end, your greatest abundance won't be measured in possessions, but in presence. Not in how much you've earned, but how deeply you've lived, how courageously you've loved, how truthfully you've walked your path even when no one understood it. So today, let this be your vow to no longer delay your becoming, to no longer betray your intuition, to no longer dim what was meant to blaze. You are not here to fit the mold. You are here to break it, to build a new world through the vibration of your being. And as you do, you don't just change your life, you change your lineage, you change your frequency, you change the collective field, because every healed soul sends ripples into the unseen. Every choice to rise makes it easier for another to do the same. That is the sacred ripple. That is how we build a better world, one healed heart at a time, one conscious breath, one brave decision to live fully without apologies. So take this with you. You are not broken. You are breaking through. You are not behind. You are being aligned. You are not waiting. You are remembering. And the life you dream of, it's not a fantasy, it's a frequency. And that frequency lives inside you. So rise, walk forward, speak boldly, rest when needed, trust always. Because what you feel, what you sense, what you've glimpsed in your spirit is not a delusion. It's a preview of the world you came here to create. Now go and let your life become the proof. That belief is the most powerful force on earth. If this message touched something in you, even just a little, help us share this frequency. Subscribe to our channel and send this video to someone who matters to you, because no one awakens alone. And the light you found here might be the light someone else has been waiting for. Thank you.